At 6 a.m., the HOA stole my boat and laughed while my daughter cried on the dock. Slip 47 was empty, just cold black water where our 1982 Grady White had been, the last place my family still felt whole after my wife died. Minutes later, Karen Blackstone left me a voicemail. "Your eyesore violated community standards. Pick it up from impound, if you can afford the fees." She thought she was just bullying a broke single dad. What this yacht club princess didn't know was that I'd spent 25 years wiring marine tracking and power systems. So when that tow truck pulled away, it didn't just take my boat, it rolled straight into a trap I built for her. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Let me paint you a picture of my life before Karen Blackstone turned it upside down. Emma and I live in a small apartment overlooking Bayshore Marina. She's got type 1 diabetes, and 3 years ago her medical bills bankrupted us. I mean, completely wiped us out. But we survived it together, and that Grady White became our weekend escape from the financial stress that never really goes away. Every Saturday morning we'd head out at dawn. Emma would make coffee in our old thermos while I prepped the tackle. The taste of salt spray mixing with coffee steam, the texture of that worn leather steering wheel under my hands, and Emma's laugh echoing across the water. Those were the moments that kept me sane. That boat wasn't just fiberglass and aluminum. My father, Miguel Rodriguez, was a Navy electrician who taught me boat restoration as our bonding ritual. I'd spent 4 years bringing that Grady White back to life, every wire and fitting installed with my own hands. I always wear his old Navy anchor chain bracelet, and I tap it when I'm thinking through electrical problems. It was tapping pretty hard that Tuesday morning. Now, Karen Blackstone. Picture a 54-year-old woman with bleached blonde hair, always dressed like she's about to host a yacht club fundraiser. She drives a white Mercedes with Boat Boss vanity plates and lives in a $2 million waterfront mansion. Karen owns Prestige Marine Sales, a luxury boat dealership, and serves as our HOA compliance officer. Her favorite hobby? Targeting working-class boat owners like me while completely ignoring the wealthy residents who violate rules every single day. The trouble started 3 weeks earlier when Karen showed up at my slip with her clipboard and photographer. The overwhelming scent of her perfume mixed with the salt air while her heels clicked on the dock planks like a countdown timer. "This vessel," she announced, pointing at my beautifully restored boat, "is aesthetically incompatible with our marina's luxury standards." I looked at her like she'd just spoken Martian. "My boat's been here 3 years, Karen. It's grandfathered in." She handed me a 72-hour removal notice with a smug smile. "Not according to our legal team. New rule passed last month. Vessels over 35 years require special permits. $500 per day storage fees if you don't comply. Here's something you should know about HOA regulations. They're only as legitimate as the proper notice given to homeowners." Karen's rule was passed without following state-mandated notification procedures, making it legally meaningless. But I didn't know that yet. I tried fighting it the right way first. Visited a lawyer who wanted $5,000 up front, money I didn't have. On day 73, I came home from a marine electrical job to find my slip empty. The security guard just shrugged apologetically. The impound lot wanted $3,200 in fees plus daily storage charges. And here's the kicker. Karen had tucked her business card under my windshield wiper. Prestige Marine buys boats as is. That night, Emma and I sat in our kitchen eating gas station pizza because we couldn't afford better. She was working on college applications, dreaming of marine engineering school, while I watched her college fund disappear into legal fees and impound charges. "Dad," she said, looking up from her laptop, "your anchor bracelet is tapping really fast." I realized my hands were shaking with rage. Emma has this thing where stress spikes her blood sugar, and I could see her getting anxious watching me fall apart. "We're going to figure this out, Mija," I told her. "Sometimes systems break, and someone has to fix them." What I didn't tell her was that I was already thinking like my Navy electrician father, methodically, systematically, and with the patience to plan something complex. because Karen Blackstone was about to learn that when you steal from a marine electrician's family, you'd better hope he doesn't know how to wire a proper surprise. Karen wasn't content with just stealing my boat. She wanted to destroy my livelihood too. Within a week, anonymous complaints started flooding the city inspector's office about my unlicensed electrical work on marina boats. Now I've held my marine electrical certification for 15 years, but suddenly I was getting surprise inspections on jobs I'd completed months earlier. The inspector, a guy named Rodriguez, no relation, pulled me aside after the third bogus call. "Tank, someone's really got it out for you. These complaints are coming in daily, and they're all signed concerned citizen. Professional jealousy, maybe." Meanwhile, Karen was working the social circuit at the yacht club, spreading rumors about me being a dangerous felon who threatens property values. The woman has a gift for making lies sound like genuine concern. I lost 3 marine electrical contracts worth $8,000. $8,000 that was supposed to go toward Emma's college fund and getting our boat back. Emma came home from school one afternoon with her blood sugar spiking from anxiety. She'd overheard some yacht club kids talking about how their parents said I was probably a drug dealer or worse. "Dad, why are people saying these things about you?" she asked, testing her glucose levels with shaky hands. My union brothers at Local 443 offered to handle Karen for me. Luis Martinez, my electrical partner, put it pretty bluntly. "Tank, we could make her life very complicated." "You know what I mean?" I told them no. The last thing I needed was my union family getting in legal trouble because of my problems. But I wasn't sitting still. I started documenting everything. Photos of Karen's own boat with illegal dock modifications, unpermitted electrical work that would make an inspector weep. I discovered her dealership was using marina slips as unlicensed inventory storage, which violates about 6 different maritime regulations. Luis helped me access the marina electrical blueprints from when we'd done the main panel upgrade 2 years earlier. Here's something most people don't know. Marina electrical systems use master shutoff breakers accessible only to licensed marine electricians. Cut power to the right breaker, and every fancy boat in the marina goes dark. I also convinced Pete Lennox, one of the security guards who was tired of Karen's constant demands, to let me install a hidden camera in his friend's boat slip. Pete was fed up with Karen treating security staff like personal servants. 3 weeks into my surveillance, I hit the jackpot. The camera caught Karen and Derek Mitchell, the marina manager, meeting at Slip 23 at midnight. Derek was handing Karen a stack of cash while they talked in hushed voices. I couldn't hear the audio, but body language told the story. This was routine business. I spent that whole night reviewing footage at my kitchen table, coffee growing cold, Emma asleep on the couch with her homework spread around her. The taste of stale pizza from dinner lingered while I listened to waves outside our apartment window. The deeper I dug, the more corruption I found. Karen hadn't just stolen my boat, she'd stolen 8 others in the past year using the exact same fake violation scheme, and Derek was splitting the storage fees with her. Here's the thing about marina theft operations. They're only sustainable if victims can't afford to fight back legally. Karen was specifically targeting working-class families and elderly boat owners on fixed incomes, but she'd made one crucial mistake. She picked on a marine electrician with union backing, electrical access to the entire marina, and a teenage daughter smart enough to help with research. Emma started mapping out Karen's pattern using a color-coded spreadsheet that would make a forensic accountant proud. "Dad, look at this," she said, showing me the laptop screen. "She always files violations on Mondays, removes boats on Fridays, and lists them for sale the following Tuesday. It's like she's running a factory." That's when I realized Karen Blackstone wasn't just a petty HOA tyrant. She was running a sophisticated theft operation using her position as legal cover, and I was going to shut it down using the one thing she'd never expect: her own stolen boats turned into evidence against her. The plan was already forming in my head as I tapped my father's anchor bracelet and thought about the marina's electrical grid. Every boat in that marina was connected to power pedestals I'd helped install. Every pedestal was connected to breakers I could control. Karen wanted to play games with other people's pride and joy. Fine. But she was about to discover that marine electricians know how to make things very, very visible when we need to. 2 weeks later, Karen decided to target the one thing guaranteed to make me lose my mind: my daughter. It started with a bogus report claiming my electrical work had caused a fire hazard near the children's swimming area. The fire chief showed up at my job site looking embarrassed. "Tank, I gotta investigate this complaint, but between you and me, I've never seen better electrical work than yours." The real gut punch came when Karen got Emma banned from the marina facilities where she volunteered teaching kids how to sail. Emma loved those Saturday mornings with the little ones, showing them how to tie bowlines and read wind direction. But the worst part, Karen actually showed up at Emma's high school. Emma called me crying from the nurse's office. "Dad, this woman came to my chemistry class and told Mr. Peterson that you owe money that will ruin my college dreams. She said I should know what kind of man my father really is." I was 40 feet up on a mast installing navigation lights when that call came in. My hands were shaking so bad I had to come down before I electrocuted myself. Emma ended up in the hospital that night with a blood sugar crisis. Stress and diabetes don't mix, and watching your dad's reputation get destroyed while your college fund disappears is stress enough to hospitalize a 16-year-old. Sitting in that emergency room at 3 a.m. watching Emma sleep with an IV in her arm, I made a decision. This wasn't about my boat anymore. This was about protecting my daughter's future from a predator in designer clothes. The medical bill added another $2,800 to my debt. Meanwhile, Karen was posting Facebook sympathy messages about protecting our children from dangerous influences while wearing $300 sunglasses in her profile photo. But here's the thing about union electricians: we don't work alone. Luis Martinez stepped up first. "Tank, whatever you're planning, I'm in. That woman messed with Emma. She messed with family." Maria Santos, a paralegal and mother of Emma's best friend, offered legal help after hearing what happened at the school. This Karen character crossed a line. Let me dig into her business records. Pete Lennox provided access to security footage showing Karen's after-hours activities at the marina. Turns out she'd been moving boats around at night using empty slips to stage her stolen inventory. Maria's research revealed something crucial. Karen's dealership owed $47,000 in unpaid marina slip fees. She'd been hiding inventory boats in stolen spots, avoiding the monthly charges while using them to showcase her fraudulent business. But the real breakthrough came when I started modifying the marina's electrical systems. Here's something about marine GPS tracking systems. They can be remotely activated using electrical grid access if you know what you're doing. I started installing tiny modification devices in the electrical pedestals serving Karen's inventory boats. Luis and I worked nights, using our legitimate maintenance access to the electrical room. The smell of salt water and electrical ozone filled that cramped space, while Emma's worried voice checked on us through phone calls. "Dad, are you sure you're not getting in over your head?" she'd ask. I'd touch my father's anchor bracelet and think about Miguel Rodriguez teaching me that sometimes fixing broken systems requires rewiring the whole setup. The modification work led to an interesting discovery. Bank records obtained through Maria's legal connections showed Karen had been double-selling boats. She'd sell the same stolen vessel to an unknowing buyer, then file a fraudulent insurance claim saying it was stolen again. My Grady White appeared on 2 separate sales receipts, once to a family in Tampa, once to an insurance company as a total theft loss. Karen was running an insurance scam operation alongside her marina theft business. But the biggest revelation came from Pete's security footage review. Karen wasn't just stealing from Bayshore Marina. She had similar operations running at 3 other marinas across 2 counties. "Tank, look at this." Pete showed me surveillance from his buddy who worked security at Sunset Harbor. Same white Mercedes, same clipboard, same fake violations routine. She's been doing this for years. I spent that night in the marina electrical room, surrounded by my father's old electrical manuals with his handwritten notes in the margins. The texture of those worn pages reminded me why I became an electrician in the first place, to fix things that were broken. Karen Blackstone had broken a lot more than just HOA rules. She'd broken families, stolen dreams, and destroyed the financial security of working people who couldn't afford to fight back. But she'd made one fatal error. She'd targeted a marine electrician who understood that the most effective way to expose criminals is to make their crimes impossible to hide. And I was about to turn every stolen boat in her inventory into a purple beacon of justice that wouldn't wash off for months. 3 weeks before my planned exposure of Karen's operation, she made her most desperate move yet. Someone had vandalized the yacht club's electrical system, causing $15,000 in damage to their fancy lighting display. The marina manager, Derek, pointed fingers straight at me, claiming I was taking revenge for having my boat stolen. Karen threatened to sue me personally, garnish my wages, and, here's the part that made my blood boil, petition family services to remove Emma from my care due to an unsafe home environment created by her father's criminal behavior. My union rep called an emergency meeting. Tank, they're talking about suspension pending investigation. I've never seen anything like this systematic character assassination. The financial pressure was crushing us. I'd lost another $12,000 in marine electrical contracts because yacht club members didn't want the unstable electrician working on their boats. Emma's college fund was completely gone, spent on legal defense and medical bills, but I wasn't backing down. I went into what Emma calls ghost mode, working only through union brothers, communicating through Maria, staying completely off Karen's radar while I prepared the trap of her lifetime. Luis and I discovered Derek had his own side hustle, stealing electricity from the marina to power his boat detailing business. The guy was running commercial pressure washers and industrial buffers off the marina's electrical grid without paying for power. Tank, this is perfect, Luis whispered as we reviewed the electrical consumption records. Derek's stealing thousands in electricity. That's felony theft. We installed hidden monitoring equipment throughout the marina electrical systems, documenting both Derek's power theft and Karen's boat movement patterns. Every stolen boat, every midnight transfer, every fake storage fee, all recorded with timestamps and electrical consumption data. But my masterpiece was the decoy boat. I bought a damaged 1979 Sea Ray from a salvage yard for $800. Luis and I spent 2 weeks wiring it with hidden tracking devices, waterproof cameras, and, the crown jewel, explosive die pack systems that would trigger remotely. The die packs were adapted from bank security equipment, designed to permanently mark stolen property with bright purple industrial marking fluid. I'd learned about them during a security consultation job 3 years earlier. Here's how explosive die packs work. Pressurized marking fluid in a waterproof container, triggered by a 12-volt electrical pulse. Safe for humans, but powerful enough to stain everything within 40 feet with permanent purple dye that won't wash off for months. Emma helped test the system on an old boat hull behind Luis's garage. Dad, when this goes off, it's going to be epic, she said, filming the purple explosion with her phone. The real breakthrough came when insurance investigator Carlos Mendez contacted me. He'd been tracking a pattern of marine theft across 3 counties, and my stolen boat reports had caught his attention. Mr. Rodriguez, I think your Karen Blackstone is running the largest boat theft operation in Florida. We've been tracking similar cases involving forged Coast Guard documentation and interstate sales of stolen vessels. Carlos shared crucial information. Karen's operation involved federal crimes. She wasn't just stealing boats locally. She was creating false ownership papers and selling stolen vessels to buyers in other states. Maritime theft across state lines meant FBI jurisdiction. This changed everything. Karen's connections to local politicians became irrelevant when federal agencies got involved. Carlos explained the bigger picture. 47 boat owners across 3 counties had reported similar theft patterns. All elderly or working-class victims, all targeted with fake HOA violations, all boats later discovered in estate sales run by Karen's dealership. Emma insisted on helping with the final phase. "She messed with our family. She messed with my college fund. I want to be there when you catch her." My daughter had developed remarkable research skills during this ordeal. She'd compiled months of Karen's social media posts showing contradictory statements about stolen boats, photographed Karen with supposedly sold vessels that were actually still in stolen status, and created a timeline proving the insurance fraud. We planned Operation Purple Rain, simultaneous activation of dye packs in all stolen boats during Karen's biggest sales event of the year. The timing was perfect. Karen had scheduled her annual Prestige Marine Estate sale at the Yacht Club, displaying 12 stolen boats as recently acquired estate vessels. The guest list included 200 wealthy buyers, local media covering the luxury boat auction, and, unknown to Karen, federal investigators planning to make arrests. I spent the final night before the operation in my apartment kitchen, surrounded by electrical diagrams and photos of Karen's stolen inventory. Emma brought me coffee and sat beside me. "Dad, you're not just an electrician fixing problems anymore," she said. "You're fixing a broken system that was hurting families like ours." I touched my father's anchor bracelet and realized she was absolutely right. Tomorrow wasn't just about getting our boat back. It was about protecting every working family from predators like Karen Blackstone. The phone call that changed everything came from Carlos Mendez at 7 p.m. on a Thursday night. "Tank, you need to sit down for this. Karen Blackstone isn't just running a local theft operation. She's the center of a federal maritime crime ring." Carlos had been working with FBI agent Sarah Kim for 6 months, tracking forged Coast Guard documentation across 4 states. Karen wasn't just stealing boats and reselling them. She was creating completely false ownership papers and selling stolen vessels to unsuspecting buyers from Georgia to Texas. Federal maritime theft across state lines carries up to 20 years per vessel, Carlos explained. "She's looking at multiple life sentences if we can prove the pattern." The power dynamic had completely shifted. Karen's connections to city council members and yacht club board directors meant nothing when federal agencies got involved. Her political protection evaporated the moment her crimes crossed state lines. But here's what really blew my mind. Karen's upcoming Prestige Marine annual sale featured 12 boats, and Carlos had proof that 11 of them matched stolen vessel reports filed with insurance companies across 3 states. She's not just displaying stolen inventory, Tank. She's running the biggest stolen boat auction in Florida history, and she's doing it in plain sight at the yacht club. This revelation changed my entire strategy. Instead of just exposing local corruption, I was about to help federal agents bust an interstate crime ring. Emma was listening to the conversation on speakerphone, taking notes like a legal secretary. "Dad, if she's selling stolen boats to people in other states, those buyers are victims too. They don't know they're buying stolen property." Agent Sarah Kim joined our planning session the next evening, meeting us at Maria's house to avoid surveillance. Sarah was a 12-year FBI veteran who'd been tracking maritime crime rings throughout the Southeast. "Tank, your electrical expertise gives us something we've never had before: the ability to mark stolen property permanently during a live criminal operation," Sarah explained. We coordinated the timing perfectly. Karen's sale event would start at 6 p.m. on Saturday. She'd present the stolen boats to buyers at 6:30 during peak attendance. That's when I'd trigger Operation Purple Rain. The FBI would have arrest teams positioned around the marina perimeter. Insurance investigator Carlos would be documenting everything for federal evidence. Emma would live stream the event on social media to ensure public documentation. But the best part was Luis's technical innovation. We'd connected all 12 dye pack devices to the marina's electrical grid through a wireless relay system I could control from 2 miles away. Even if Karen discovers our devices and tries to disable them, she'd need to shut down power to the entire marina, Luis explained, and backup batteries keep our system running for 6 hours without grid power. Each device was hidden in the bilge pump area of stolen boats, designed to look like standard marine electrical equipment. When triggered, they'd rupture under pressure and spray bright purple industrial marking fluid in 40-foot radius patterns. The psychological impact would be devastating. Karen's entire stolen inventory would be permanently marked as crime scene evidence in front of 200 potential buyers and local media. Translation: every stolen boat becomes a purple billboard advertising her criminal operation, Emma said, grinning. Agent Sarah confirmed that federal arrest warrants were ready for execution. Karen faced 31 federal counts including maritime theft, insurance fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy. Derek would be arrested as a co-conspirator. I realized this wasn't just about getting my boat back anymore. We were about to expose a crime ring that had stolen nearly $1 million worth of boats from working families across the Southeast. Karen Blackstone thought she was untouchable because of her wealth and political connections. She was about to discover that federal crimes don't care about yacht club memberships. The next 72 hours were the most intense of my life. Luis and I turned the union shop into a high-tech crime-fighting laboratory, working 18-hour shifts to perfect our Purple Rain system. We modified 12 waterproof die pack assemblies, each about the size of a phone charger, designed to hide perfectly in boat bilge pump compartments. The devices contained pressurized purple industrial marking fluid, the same stuff banks use for theft deterrent, but adapted for marine environments. Testing was crucial. Emma and I practiced the activation sequence on a junked boat hull Luis brought to his backyard. The first successful test created a 40-foot radius of brilliant purple spray that would have made Barney the dinosaur jealous. "Dad, this is going to be absolutely epic," Emma said, filming the purple explosion with her phone. "Karen's white designer dress is going to match her stolen boats." Luis installed the wireless relay system, connecting all devices to a master switch I'd control remotely. The engineering was beautiful. Marine radio frequency transmission with a 500-yard range, backup battery power, and fail-safe mechanisms to prevent accidental activation. Meanwhile, Maria coordinated our legal strategy with insurance investigator Carlos and FBI agent Sarah. I wore a wire during a staged negotiation meeting with Karen, getting her to admit on tape that she'd been removing problematic boats to maintain community standards. "Sometimes you have to take decisive action to protect property values," Karen said, completely unaware she was confessing to federal crimes. "Boats like yours bring down the neighborhood." The financial calculations were staggering. Total value of Karen's stolen boats, $847,000. Federal maritime theft penalties, up to 20 years per vessel. Civil restitution to victims, $2.3 million. My personal damages included the boat's value, lost income from destroyed electrical contracts, legal fees, and Emma's medical bills from stress-induced diabetes complications. Total, $23,000 that we desperately needed for Emma's college fund. Emma's role in the operation impressed even Agent Sarah. My daughter had developed sophisticated social media documentation skills, creating multiple backup live stream accounts and coordinating with Pete, the security guard, to ensure optimal camera angles. "Emma, you've got natural investigative instincts," Sarah told her during one planning session. "Ever consider a career in federal law enforcement?" "I'm thinking marine engineering with a minor in criminal justice," Emma replied. "Someone needs to design better security systems for marinas." Luis recruited backup from our union brothers, not for muscle, but for technical expertise and emergency support. If anything went wrong with our electrical systems, we had master electricians standing by with replacement equipment. Pete provided crucial intelligence: yacht club floor plans, security camera blind spots, and patrol route timing. He'd also confirmed that Karen's stolen boats were being stored in prime display positions for maximum buyer visibility. The technical explanation for our operation was elegant in its simplicity. Marine electrical systems run on 12-volt DC power, same as automotive systems. Our die pack triggers used standard marine battery technology to rupture containment vessels under controlled pressure. When activated simultaneously, 12 boats would erupt in synchronized purple fountains, creating the most visible crime scene in marina history. Any boat thief operating near water could be permanently marked using standard marine electrical supplies and security equipment. Our timeline was military precise. Saturday 5 p.m. Final system check from Luis's van positioned 2 miles away. 6 p.m. Yacht Club Gala begins. Karen starts greeting buyers. 6:25 p.m. Emma positioned inside with hidden cameras. FBI teams in place. 6:30 p.m. Karen begins stolen boat presentation to peak attendance. 6:32 p.m. I activate Purple Rain from remote location. 6:35 p.m. FBI arrests begin while purple evidence floats in marina. Working night shifts in the union shop created an atmosphere of focused intensity. The smell of machine oil and electrical flux mixed with the excitement of building something that would change everything. Luis cursing in Spanish when our first die pack prototype leaked. Emma's energy drinks keeping her alert during technical discussions. The walls of my apartment transformed into a crime investigation center. Photos of stolen boats, electrical diagrams, marina layouts, and timelines mapping Karen's operation. Maria's coffee fueled our strategy sessions while the sound of waves outside reminded us why this fight mattered. Emma caught me one evening touching my father's anchor bracelet while reviewing our plans. "Dad, you're not just thinking like an electrician anymore. You're thinking like someone who builds systems to catch criminals." She was right. This operation combined everything my father had taught me about electrical systems with everything Karen had taught me about fighting injustice. We weren't just catching a boat thief, we were building a replicable system for exposing maritime crime rings anywhere in the country. The night before execution, Emma helped me pack the remote trigger device while reviewing our backup plans. "Tomorrow we get our life back, Dad. Our boat, our reputation, and my college fund." I realized this 17-year-old girl had become my partner in creating justice where the system had failed us. 4 days before our planned operation, Karen discovered we were investigating her. I was finishing electrical work on a 50-foot yacht when Derek approached me with a briefcase and a nervous smile. "Tank, I've got a business proposition that could solve all your problems." Inside the briefcase, $50,000 in cash and a typed document titled Mutual Resolution Agreement. "Karen feels terrible about the misunderstanding with your boat," Derek lied smoothly. "She's prepared to compensate you generously if you're willing to forget everything and move on with your life." I stared at that money knowing it represented stolen funds from dozens of families like mine. "Derek, you can tell Karen that some things aren't for sale." His friendly demeanor evaporated instantly. "Tank, you're making a big mistake. Karen has resources you can't imagine." 3 hours later, our apartment building's fire alarm started screaming at 2:47 a.m. Emma and I evacuated with 30 other residents, standing in the parking lot in our pajamas while firefighters battled flames in the electrical room directly below our unit. The acrid smell of burning electrical equipment filled the night air. Fire Chief Martinez found evidence of accelerant. "Someone deliberately set this fire, Tank. They knew exactly where to target your apartment's electrical supply." We lost most of our belongings, including my electrical tools and all the physical evidence files I'd compiled about Karen's operation. Emma's diabetes supplies were destroyed, requiring expensive emergency replacements we couldn't afford. The Red Cross put us in a hotel for 3 nights, but watching my daughter's college dreams disappear along with our possessions was devastating. Emma's blood sugar spiked from stress, and I found her crying in the hotel bathroom at midnight. "Dad, she tried to kill us," Emma whispered. "She actually tried to burn us out." I held my daughter and felt something cold settle in my chest. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about a predator who'd escalate to violence when exposed. Luis insisted we move into his garage immediately. "Tank, you and Emma aren't safe anywhere Karen can find you. We finish this operation from my place." Working from Luis's cluttered garage felt like operating an underground resistance. the smell of motor oil mixed with electrical equipment while Emma managed our communications from a laptop balanced on paint cans. FBI agent Sarah confirmed our worst fears. Karen had hired a private investigator to follow me for weeks. The arson was meant to destroy evidence and intimidate us into silence. She's desperate, which makes her dangerous, Sarah warned. But desperation also means she's close to making fatal mistakes. I used Karen's surveillance against her. I led her private investigator to a fake evidence cache at an abandoned warehouse, while our real operation continued from Luis's garage. The arson investigation revealed something crucial. Derek Mitchell's brother-in-law had been hired as the arsonist. This wasn't just HOA corruption, it was a family criminal enterprise with multiple generations involved in maritime theft. Emma's research skills proved invaluable even from our temporary base. She'd backed up all our documentation to cloud storage before the fire, maintaining our evidence files while Karen thought she'd destroyed everything. "Dad, look at this," Emma showed me her laptop screen. Karen moved up the yacht club gala date. We have 48 hours instead of a week. The accelerated timeline created pressure, but Luis and I had built our systems for exactly this kind of challenge. 36 straight hours of testing confirmed our wireless activation systems were ready for deployment. Insurance investigator Carlos visited us at Luis's garage with updates from his FBI coordination. Karen's panicking. She's been calling every law enforcement contact she has trying to find out if she's under investigation. But Carlos also brought disturbing news. Karen had started liquidating assets, suggesting she might flee before our planned exposure. Her yacht club sale wasn't just about profit, it was her exit strategy. "Tank, if we don't catch her this weekend, she'll disappear to a country without extradition treaties," Carlos explained. Emma's determination impressed everyone involved in our operation. Despite losing her belongings and being displaced from home, she insisted on maintaining her role in documenting Karen's downfall. "She messed with our family, destroyed our home, and tried to ruin my future," Emma said, organizing her backup camera equipment. "I want to be the one filming when she gets arrested." Working out of Luis's garage created an atmosphere of focused urgency, Emma video calling with operation updates while I performed final system checks. The taste of gas station coffee and convenience store sandwiches fueling our round-the-clock preparation. The night before execution, I realized Karen's escalation had actually strengthened our case. Arson proved she was willing to use violence against families, adding federal terrorism charges to her maritime theft crimes. Emma fell asleep on Luis's couch, surrounded by backup documentation, her laptop still running live-stream software tests. I covered her with a blanket and touched my father's anchor bracelet. Tomorrow, we'd turn Karen's desperation into the evidence that would destroy her criminal empire forever. Karen's final desperate move came 18 hours before our planned operation. I was hiding at the Union safe house when Luis called with devastating news. "Tank, they just issued a warrant for your arrest. Terrorism charges." Karen had convinced her corrupt police contact to file a report claiming I'd threatened to blow up the marina during our recorded conversation. She'd edited the audio to make my electrical work sound like bomb-making threats. "The warrant's been issued," Luis explained. "You can't be seen publicly until we sort this out." Emma was at school when the story broke on local news. Marine electrician threatens marina terrorism. My reputation, rebuilt over months of fighting Karen's lies, was destroyed again in a single news cycle. Emma faced harassment from Karen's wealthy allies' children at school. Parents who'd never spoken to us suddenly knew my name as that dangerous man who threatens to blow up boats. My union considered distancing themselves to protect other members. The brotherhood that had supported me for 15 years was wavering under federal terrorism allegations. But FBI agent Sarah had been expecting this escalation. "Tank, we've been monitoring Karen's phone calls. We caught her coordinating this false testimony with Derek. It's witness tampering and obstruction of justice." From the safe house basement 2 miles from the marina, I watched Emma's live stream as she bravely documented Karen's pre-gala preparations. My 17-year-old daughter was now the field operative while I directed remotely. Dad, all 12 boats are in position, Emma whispered into her phone. Karen just told the news crew she's excited to showcase her estate boat collection to the community. Luis confirmed our technical systems were operational. Every die-pack device showed green status lights. The wireless relay network was receiving signals clearly from my 2-mile distance. Pete, the security guard, provided the final intelligence update. Karen had moved all stolen boats to prime display positions early, suggesting she planned to complete sales and disappear that night. Tank, she's got packed suitcases in her Mercedes trunk, Pete reported. This isn't just a sale event, it's her exit strategy. The corruption went deeper than we'd imagined. Derek admitted to FBI agents that Karen had been planning her escape for weeks, liquidating assets and transferring money to offshore accounts. But Karen made one crucial error in her panic. By accelerating the timeline and consolidating all stolen boats in one location, she'd created the perfect opportunity for simultaneous evidence marking. Insurance investigator Carlos confirmed federal agents were positioned around the marina perimeter with arrest warrants ready for execution. Tank, whatever happens tonight, we've got enough evidence to convict her even if your operation fails. My remote activation system was tested and ready. From Luis's van in the Union parking lot, I could trigger all 12 die packs simultaneously while maintaining safe distance from the arrest scene. Emma's preparation impressed everyone involved in our operation. She'd created multiple backup live stream accounts, coordinated with news crews for additional documentation, and established communication protocols with FBI agents. Dad, I'm not scared anymore, Emma told me during our final phone check. She tried to destroy our family, but she just made us stronger and smarter. Working from the safe house basement, surrounded by electrical monitoring equipment and backup communication systems, I felt the weight of our family's future balancing on the next few hours. The emotional preparation was as crucial as the technical setup. Emma and I video called one final time before the operation began. Tomorrow we get our life back, Mija, I told her. Our boat, our reputation, and your college fund. Dad, you taught me something important, Emma replied. Sometimes fixing broken systems means being willing to shock people who think they're untouchable. I touched my father's anchor bracelet and thought about Miguel Rodriguez, who taught me that electrical systems require both patience and precise timing. Tonight's operation would honor everything he'd taught me about fixing things that were broken. At 5:45 p.m., Emma texted from inside the yacht club. Gala starting, 200 plus attendees, news crew setting up, Karen wearing white designer dress, perfect target for purple dye. Luis confirmed from our mobile command post, all systems green, remote trigger responding perfectly, backup power supplies fully charged. FBI agent Sarah's final communication, federal arrest teams in position, execute operation at your discretion. I sat in Luis's van 2 miles from the marina, watching Emma's live stream on my phone while holding the remote trigger device. My father's anchor bracelet was steady on my wrist for the first time in months. Karen Blackstone was about to learn that when you threaten a marine electrician's family, you'd better hope he doesn't know how to make your crimes visible from space. The yacht club gala was beginning, and justice was about to rain purple. The yacht club was packed. 200 wealthy buyers mingled under string lights while a local news crew set up cameras for Karen's estate boat collection presentation. I watched through Emma's live stream from Luis's van, my finger hovering over the remote trigger. My daughter was positioned near the marina dock with her phone, documenting everything for federal evidence. At 6:30 p.m. sharp, Karen took the microphone wearing a pristine white designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Prestige Marine's annual estate sale, Karen announced with practiced charm. These magnificent vessels represent the finest acquisitions from distinguished estates across Florida. She gestured proudly toward 12 boats floating in the marina like sitting ducks. My stolen Grady White sat in the center, surrounded by 11 other vessels stolen from working families across 3 counties. Each boat has been carefully selected for its craftsmanship and heritage, Karen continued, completely unaware that FBI agents were positioning themselves throughout the crowd. Emma's camera captured the scene perfectly. Wealthy buyers examining stolen boats while Karen played the role of legitimate businesswoman. The irony was thick enough to cut with a boat hook. "These vessels are priced to sell tonight only," Karen said, her voice carrying across the water. "Estate sales wait for no one." At 6:32 p.m., I triggered the system. 12 simultaneous explosions erupted across the marina like a coordinated fireworks display. Purple industrial marking fluid shot 40 feet into the air from every stolen boat, creating geysers of brilliant violet that rained down on the yacht club deck. The crowd screamed and scattered as purple dye splattered across the pristine venue. Karen's white dress was instantly transformed into a Jackson Pollock painting of criminal evidence. "What's happening?" Karen shrieked, spinning in circles as purple fluid dripped from her perfectly styled hair. The stolen boats floated in the marina like crime scene markers, each one permanently stained with bright purple evidence that wouldn't wash off for months. The visual impact was absolutely perfect. You could see those boats from the parking lot. FBI agent Sarah Kim stepped out of the crowd, badge raised high. "Karen Blackstone, you're under arrest for interstate transportation of stolen vessels." The news crew captured everything as handcuffs clicked around Karen's purple-stained wrists. Insurance investigator Carlos appeared with a clipboard, reading off hull numbers like a grocery list. "Boat number 1 matches federal stolen vessel report filed in Tampa. Boat number 2 reported stolen in Jacksonville. Boat number 3... Emma's live stream was going viral in real time. "That's my dad's boat," she announced to her growing audience. "The one with the purple marking in the center. She stole it from our family." Karen was screaming about terrorist attacks and innocent estate sales while purple dye dripped from her designer shoes. The crowd watched in fascination as she transformed from sophisticated businesswoman to stained criminal. Derek, the marina manager, tried to slip away through the crowd, but FBI agents were ready. "Derek Mitchell, you're also under arrest for conspiracy to commit maritime theft." I arrived with Luis just as the handcuffs were being applied. Showing my remote trigger device to Agent Sarah, I addressed the news cameras directly. "Marine electrical work," I explained to the reporter. "Sometimes you need to make stolen property very visible to prove ownership." Emma ran over and hugged me, still filming with her phone. "Dad, you did it! Look at her, she's completely purple." The most satisfying moment came when Karen, still handcuffed and dripping purple, tried to maintain her innocence. "These are legitimate estate sales. I have all the proper documentation." Agent Sarah held up evidence bags filled with forged papers. 47 counts of federal maritime theft, insurance fraud, and racketeering. "Your documentation is about as legitimate as your business practices." Emma addressed her phone camera with teenage satisfaction. She said our boat was an eyesore that brought down property values. Now her whole criminal operation is a purple eyesore that won't wash off. My final line to purple-stained Karen was 15 years in the making. Next time you want to steal someone's pride and joy, make sure they're not a union electrician who knows how to wire a proper surprise. The news crew filmed FBI agents displaying charts showing Karen's $847,000 theft operation across 3 counties. Insurance investigator Carlos presented evidence of my boat being sold twice, once to an unknowing buyer, once fraudulently to an insurance company. Emma's phone recordings played through speakers as Karen's own voice confessed, "Sometimes you have to take decisive action against boats that bring down the neighborhood." As purple-stained evidence floated in the marina and Karen disappeared into a federal transport van, I realized we'd done more than catch a boat thief. We'd created a replicable system for exposing maritime crime that other communities could use. The headline crawl on the evening news said it all. "Purple boat bomber catches yacht club theft ring." 6 months later, Emma and I were back on the water in our restored Grady white, sharing coffee from our old thermos while the sun painted the horizon orange. Karen Blackstone received 8 to 15 years in federal prison, plus $2.3 million in restitution to 47 victims across 3 counties. Derek got 3 years and agreed to testify about the entire marina corruption network they'd been running. The purple stains on our boat had faded to a pale lavender, creating what Emma called justice marks that reminded us how we'd turned a criminal's weapon against her. My electrical business exploded after the story went national. Every marina from Tampa to Miami wanted security systems installed by the Purple Boat Bomber. Emma started calling it brand recognition through criminal justice. We received $23,000 in direct restitution plus a $45,000 whistleblower reward from insurance companies grateful for exposing the interstate fraud ring. Emma's college fund was fully restored, with enough left over for her to attend MIT's marine engineering program with minimal debt. But the money wasn't the real victory. The Union Local 443 gave me their Electrician of the Year award for creative problem solving in the face of systematic corruption. Luis framed the certificate and hung it in our shop with a note, for services above and beyond normal electrical work. The marina implemented new oversight systems preventing any single person from controlling boat storage decisions. Federal maritime theft task forces started using our case as a model for investigating similar crimes nationwide. Emma's college application essay, titled "How My Dad Caught a Boat Thief Using Purple Dye and Marine Electrical Systems," won a national writing contest and earned her early admission to 3 engineering schools. "Dad, you didn't just fix electrical problems," Emma told me during one of our Saturday morning fishing trips. "You fixed a broken system that was hurting families like ours." The community benefits extended far beyond our family. Using the settlement money, I established the Purple Justice Marine Program, free boat electrical safety inspections for working families who couldn't afford professional services. In our first year, we completed 847 free inspections, preventing an estimated $2.8 million in marina fire damage. Emma became the program coordinator, teaching sailing and electrical safety to underprivileged kids every weekend. The marina dedicated Rodriguez Family Dock in honor of our service to community safety. Emma brought friends from school who called me legendary and asked for detailed explanations of how we'd caught Karen. My personal life improved dramatically. Maria Santos, the paralegal who'd helped with our legal strategy, and I started dating slowly and sweetly. She understood the importance of family, having watched Emma's courage throughout our fight against Karen. Emma's diabetes management stabilized once the constant stress disappeared. Her college plans expanded from marine engineering to include a minor in criminal justice. "Someone needs to design better security systems for marinas," she explained, "and someone needs to understand how to catch criminals who exploit working families." But the most meaningful change was emotional. Emma and I had survived something that could have destroyed us, and we'd emerged stronger and closer than ever. Our nonprofit Harbor Heroes connected marine electricians with low-income boat owners nationwide, providing free safety inspections that prevented fires and saved lives. The program expanded to 12 marinas in the first year. 3 weeks ago, I got a call from a boat owner in Fort Lauderdale. "Tank, we've got a marina manager here stealing boats using fake violations. Sound familiar?" Emma looked up from her college textbooks and grinned. "Dad, I think we found our next project." I touched my father's anchor bracelet and smiled. Miguel Rodriguez would be proud that his son had learned to fix more than just electrical systems. We'd learned to fix broken justice. Every Saturday morning, Emma and I still head out at dawn for coffee and fishing, but now she's planning her marine engineering thesis on integrated security systems for marina theft prevention, and I'm consulting with FBI maritime crime units across the Southeast. Karen Blackstone thought she could steal from working families without consequences. Instead, she helped us discover that sometimes the best way to catch criminals is to make their crimes impossible to hide. Share your HOA nightmare stories in the comments. We might have electrical solutions for those problems too. And subscribe for more David versus Goliath justice stories where the working class wins.
Thanks for hanging out with us on HOA Stories, where the HOA Karens meet their match. If this story had you cheering or cringing, go ahead and like the video. drop a comment with your reaction, and hit subscribe so you're ready for the next wild HOA tale.